Hi there folks, Andrea Cox here with thehealthyhaven.net and alkalizewithandrea.com, and I wanted to do this quick video for you really about how to deal with your vices or the crutches you use to get through stressful or anxiety-ridden situations. And this really came about yesterday. I interviewed an amazing, beautiful-hearted man named Gerald Rogers, and that's up on my YouTube channel. I actually just uploaded it, and I'll post a link below in the comments section down here so you can watch it. It's an hour interview. I highly recommend it. Gerald has been on the Today Show, NBC, the Huffington Post, everywhere. And, you know, he got very vulnerable with me during the interview and actually shared about how he used to have a porn addiction when he was married. And, you know, I thought that was really, really, it was really vulnerable of him to show that to me on his end, and it was very humble of him to speak out about that. And, you know, everyone has a vice. I wrote about my first book, Rawlicious. I wrote about my vice was food. I had an eating disorder. I had bulimia for years. I struggled with it, and I still struggle with running to food if I get really taxed, really tired, really overwhelmed, or really stressed. I just have the proper system put in place to not do that as much anymore, to where it may happen once or twice a year, as opposed to like once or twice a day or a week. So, you know, whatever your vice is, porn, smoking, food, sex, whatever it is, drugs, you should always have a way to get it under control and to get back to your happy place and get back to your center. And so I'm going to share with you some tips that I share with my clients and what's worked for me. So tip number one, which is the biggest tip, would be to identify it, to admit you actually have a problem. You know, I mean, so many of us, you know, we don't really admit to ourselves when we have something that we're overusing or we're abusing. And so that's the number one problem. And I noticed a lot of times people who are in drug recovery, they have a really hard time with that one thing. So admitting to the problem is number one. Number two is, and this is a biggie, is what you're stressing over, whether it be a relationship, because oftentimes it's a relationship with someone else where, you know, possibly you're taking on their stuff and it's causing you a lot of angst and, you know, anxiety and stress and worry, and you're all of a sudden back in your stuff that you worked through years ago, and that's not good. You know, I mean, I've spent a lot of time working on my stuff, and I don't want to allow someone else's stuff that they still have to work through. I don't want to go through their mud puddle with them. You know, let them work their mud puddle out on their own and then come back to me as, you know, as whole. And so you really need to evaluate the situation you're in to see if it's even worth it. So that's tip number two. Really see if what you're stressing about or what's causing it, whether it be a relationship, a job, whatever, is really worth it. Do you need to find a new job? Do you need to find a new husband? Whatever it is, really look into that. Number three, and this is a biggie, and it's something you really have to focus on in order to complete, is to pull yourself out of that environment. And that's hard to do. So say you get your porn on in your bedroom. Say you overeat in your kitchen or your dining room. Say you smoke outside. Before you go outside, before you go into the bedroom, before you go into the kitchen, stop yourself and say, okay, is this for my highest good? Is this for my highest good? Is this serving me in some capacity, or is it not? And I think 9 times out of 10, really 10 times out of 10, if it is a habit that you know is not good for you, you're going to know right then that it's not serving you any longer, and you can stop. You can actually stop. You can do something else. And that leads me to the next tip, doing something else, replacing that habit with something positive. So whether it's replacing your big meal with yoga, or replacing your cigarette you're smoking with a healthy dessert or a healthy meal for yourself, or replacing the other thing we spoke about with a walk outside, or taking your dog to the beach or on a walk or something of that nature. You know, it doesn't have to cost money. A warm Epsom salt bath is like, what, $4? I mean, that's excellent. That's one of my favorite things to do. So really look at, can I replace it with something else? And then the last tip, and this is really, sorry, I was petting my husband there, my furry husband. The last tip, and this is really, really crucial, is finding a trusted friend that you can confide in. And this is, you have to be really careful of who you bring in when you do this. You know, a friend or a family member, make sure they're the type of person that is always positive, that's not going through like menopause or something where you're going to call them and you don't know what you're going to get. That was a horrible analogy, and forgive me if you are going through that, because I'm sure that's not fun, and that wasn't a very good analogy, but I made it. So on that note, I'm going to take a drink of water. So finding a trusted friend is so very important. Someone you can call. I know I can call my friend Tanya, or I can email my friend Joy, or my friend Connie, or there's so many friends I have that I can turn to and say, look, I'm going through this, and they give me their advice. And then I know a list of friends that I can call, and they're going to give me the hard truth, and they're going to tell me like it is, and they're going to really let me have it. And so that needs a little more cushioning for me. But yeah, those are my tips to let go of your vices. And I definitely I've definitely worked through mine, but you know, some things have come up for me lately, and it's definitely a process. So, and we all make mistakes. So forgive yourself, be gentle, be kind to yourself, love yourself. Andrea Cox, be well. And I'll post the Gerald Rogers interview below.